Yeah, I didn't expect that sound to come out of someone who looks like one of the hostages in the Nakatomi Plaza. Um, hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. My name's John. His name is Andy. There was a lot of rocking going on that night. Cruising time for the young bright lights. Just down past the gasworks by the meat factory door. The Five Lamp Boys were coming on strong. More on that later, perhaps. But first, Andy, what have you got in store for us today?
I am going to have you check out a band called Hot Mulligan. I'm assuming you have no prior experience listening to Hot Mulligan.
No.
Okay, fair. And that doesn't come as much of a surprise to me. The track by them that I'd like you to check out is called, and it's within asterisks, it's Equip Sunglasses. So please change your spectacles to the sunglass variety and go off and give this thing a listen and come back and let me know what you think.
Okay, will do. Wow, that's quite a visual. Yeah, this guy with this fucking huge head and his tiny eyes, who's got like the look of someone from a 80s action film that's like I was thinking like one of the executives from Die Hard or something. And then this sort of screaming comes out. That's very odd. And the way he just turns around and everything is right, let's get over it. Start again. Fucking Mr. Potato Head. Okay, it's quite simple. Start that beat and sort of guitar sort of chugging, quite post-punky. Um, and then in comes the bass, and then there's the main guitar with this nice riff for the lead. It's quite catchy. Um, the band are arsing around quite a bit. They're really putting me off. Like guy doing like the madness dance. Yeah. So I'm gonna just not look because Mr. Melonhead is really putting me off. All right. But yeah, this riff sounds nice. Okay, they're doing the little tricks with the dynamics because it's really quite simple musically. But I thought that little piece there, is that the chorus? I don't know. It had this sound in it that was almost like little popping. I don't know if it's a keyboard trying to sound like a percussion. It's like pop, 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 pop. Let's just go back. Yeah, it was around the time we were slapping our asses and stuff. Let's go back a little bit. It's a short song. Yeah, that's another. visual I could do without. Okay, this I'm sure I've kept it well hid, but this type of vocals just pisses me off. And we get a second guy singing who's even more sort of, and there's no light and shade. He's just screaming the whole time, like someone's doing surgery on him with a blunt instrument. Yeah, there's a place for screaming, most definitely. But all the time, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not enjoying that. But there you go. And there's two of them now, which is even better. Someone's going for more. Yeah, it was all right. I didn't hate it, but there are elements of that I could have done without. Um, Certainly some of those visuals with Mr. Little Big Eyes. Uh, I think the band, I don't know them, but it seems from that they have some sort of sense of humour. Do good for them. In terms of the song, it was all right. It was fairly basic. There's just that one riff, really, that sort of went through it, which is catchy enough. So it's fine. Yeah, the vocals I did not like. And when they doubled down on them, oh, I did not like that at all. Um, yeah, it's like some kids who've had too much Sunny Delight just running around the whole time. You know it's going to end up in tears and vomit. Um, and maybe that's what they wanted. So let's find out more about Hot Mulligan, which is quite a cool name, and equip glasses by going back and chopping over with Andy.
All right. I see that you have returned. So what did you think of Hot Mulligan and this track, Equip Sunglasses?
So I had to restart the video after a dozen seconds or so because I wasn't sure that old Melonhead was real or he'd been CGI'd. It's quite the visual. Those tiny eyes and that huge noggin. It did unsettle me. Anyway, shock over. I can get past mere physical attributes and concentrate on the music. So, restart. Starts off with a couple of beats, and we get this like half chug from the guitar before old Mr. Potato Head starts screaming like someone is peeling his children. Chips off the old blockhead. Yeah, I didn't expect that sound to come out of someone who looks like one of the hostages in the Nakatomi Plaza.
What
Just
a
looked like some
throwback
sort of
reference.
80s accountant type like vibe going on. And then anyway, it continues with this post-punk guitar and a really simple beat until the introduction of the bass as well, which allows the lead guitar to develop the main riff that permeates the rest of the song.
Yeah.
So now all the band are together and running with it, and it goes in quite a, I would say, a noughties section, which it kind of sounds like. And I'm sure he's saying I had real issue with some of the words he says, like trying to understand them.
Mm.
I misplaced my Rosetta Stone. But I'm sure he said something about it's good to hate. Every now and then he's really clear, and it's good to hate. Um, and also, I think this is like the chorusy bit, and it's really down in the mix, and it's quite hard to pick up because of the guitar rightly takes preference, and of course his screaming. But there's this sound. It's like popping. I think his keyboard's meant to sound a bit like sort of electronic versions of like like a drum like but that I could just hear it like someone was just popping bubble wrap. It
Mm.
was just really but it was really interesting. Anyway, we get into the next verse, and I hear the word compliance because it's quite clear at this point. And I was doing my best not to watch the video because it was I found it upsetting. But and then he says something about sure you're identical to all your peers. Um, and then good news, one of the guitarists sings as well, and he also sounds like he's having an ingrown toenail removed with a butter knife. Um, Absolutely no chance of understanding what he's saying because he's even more shouty. Um, I do catch your man Taterhead saying like clockwork. Um, yeah, so back to what I now believe is the chorus with and it goes through the sort of same bit again. I'm sure I'm hearing the same things, and then we get this like guitar riffing at the end, which then goes into very nice splashy drums. And this seems to waken up the drummer, who's been very perfunctory up to now. He's not done a bad job, but just fairly keeping it.
Mm.
And now he starts to be newly invigorated and he shoves in some really nice fills. And the two vocalists tumble over each other's lines, which is always a nice technique that sort of builds momentum,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
something's coming and it's speeding up. And then we get that other sound, which is another thing. It's like that sort of chug, chug, chug guitar, which sounds like a ladder being climbed. And then a big drum fill at the end, and then back into the chorus. Um, I get some more snippets, something about robbery and something about you don't like yourself. And then it's out. It's quite a short number. It was less than 3 minutes, wasn't it? I pulled it back a couple of times. Um, Musically, I felt it felt quite simple. However, the good main guitar riff was really nice and pleasing and very catchy. Um, I do think there was a message in there, judging by the very pointed actions of the band in this video and the placing of the sunglasses. It's like a shield of protection. It's not quite the same as the sunglasses we talked about
Yeah.
in another episode. Certainly isn't some sort of maniacal thing. It feels like a reactionary thing to other outside forces. The main thing with me was I didn't enjoy the vocals at all,
Yeah.
that technique, because it was just shouty, especially the guitarist guy. It was just one level. I think I said in the reaction, it's like a kid has had too much sunny delight and just runs around in a room. We know it's all going to end up in tears and vomit, um, and maybe that's what they wanted. But yeah, that's the thing that didn't I didn't like for me. But the other stuff was cool, and it was I really like the guitar was very sort of this post punk revival type thing almost. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Sort of naughty sound. It was along those lines, yeah. And again, it's really catchy and pleasing. But yeah, I really, really, Mr. Potato Head really jarred me. It's just shocking, shocking. Wow. There's even a bit when he puts his glasses up, with the camera, and it's like, there's a tiny little bit.
Okay.
Harp on about it, but yeah.
Well, I'm glad you survived it, John. Thanks so much.
Fucking weird.
Yeah, yeah.
as well. So there's a bit in it where one of the guys, I think it's the drummer. Right at the start, he dances across the screen like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is a Madness band in the UK. That's the one of their dances.
Oh,
That's,
okay.
I don't know if he's doing it deliberately because he's a Madness fan or he
Maybe.
just seen someone do it. But I thought
Yeah.
that was really weird to see that in this sort of music video.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's interesting stuff. So the reason that I brought these guys to the table is because on this channel a lot, both further back in our, sort of duration here on YouTube, and also more recently, uh, I've given you bands from sort of the Midwest emo movement, and the different iterations thereof, right? So we've done like Sunny Day Real Estate and Jimmy
Yeah.
Eat World, and now these guys are what I would consider to be like the newest form of Midwestern emo music.
Right.
And so these guys are kind of carrying the mantle now, representing that part of the country in this sort of genre. And I know that a lot of those bands that came before them are influences on their sound. So I just wanted to kind of like walk you through the iterations of it, and this is why I chose them. So yeah, go on. You look like you had something to say.
Yeah, can I just ask? Because we've talked about this before about the different sort of you get this with other things as well, but with emo, it means something different in our country to yours. Um, would this doesn't sound anything like Sunny Day Real Estate.
Yeah.
Um, and not, so would the emo part of it be the vocalist really, his
Yeah,
attitude, what he's singing about, and the way he sings it as well?
yes, both those things. Both those things. It's not just
Gotcha.
the delivery, but it is the delivery, but it's also the content
Subject, yeah.
yeah, the subject matter of the lyrics themselves. They tend to be very introspective and all linked to emotions and feelings and senses that we go through and stuff like that. So that's sort of where it gets its name. Now, sound is something that just gets developed over time in any
Yeah.
splintering of a genre, and the technology and production choices du jour of each of those times. But yes, this is sort of the next evolution or iteration of Midwest emo. They're a band, as you would imagine, with Midwest in the title. They are from Lansing, Michigan, and they formed in 2014, and they are currently comprised of Nathan Tades Sanville, that's your man, on lead vocals. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very, very wide. We've established that.
Bloody
Chris,
eyes.
Chris, gotta be sees this. I'm sorry, on behalf of both of us. I apologize. Chris Freeman on rhythm guitar and co-lead vocals, or the kid that had too much Sunny D. Ryan Spicy Malizzi on lead guitar, who I love that lead guitar is very hooky and definitely has that
Yeah.
sort of like a new wave post punk kind of sound to it that gets stuck in your head. Brandon Blakely on drums and Jonah Fantasy Camp Kramer on bass. Now, I should say that their former bassist, who was featured in this video, Garrett Sniff Willig, left the band in 2021. So that's who you saw featured in the video. I believe he is the bald fellow who gets his head rubbed with the towel that they were using on the Camaro. Their sound has been described as post-hardcore, Midwest emo, and shoegaze. In 2015, Hot Mulligan released two EPs titled Fenton and Honest and Cunning via Michigan-based label Savior Generation Records. After signing to No Sleep Records in 2017, Hot Mulligan re-released an EP titled Opportunities. In 2018, Hot Mulligan released their debut full-length album titled Pilot on No Sleep Records. And in 2020, they released their second album, You'll Be Fine, also on No Sleep. In 2023, Hot Mulligan signed to Wax Bodega and released their third album, Why Would I Watch? In 2024, the band also released singles Stickers of Brian and End Eric Sparrow and The Life of Him. The track we listened to today, Equip Sunglasses, featured on the aforementioned You'll Be Fine album. You'll Be Fine has received generally positive reviews from contemporary music critics. Luke Nuttall, writing for The Soundboard, awarded the album a 7 out of 10 rating, admitting that Hot Mulligan haven't come out with a genre-defining opus, but noted that You'll Be Fine can consistently keep up an emotional core that's so much more real and an instrumental canvas that directly benefits it without sacrificing its overall melodiousness. Nuttall would add, even when they're at their most conventionally emo sounding, like On Equipped Sunglasses or Green Squirrel in Pretty Bad Shape, there's a sepia toned warmth and richness that, with a mid-paced tempo that opens up in just the right ways, hits the right melodic beats in a way that culminates truly satisfyingly. You'll Be Fine has the sort of tension and underlying ruggedness that's often credit to emo, and it's no exception here. Staff over at Sputnik Music rated the album a 3.5 out of 5, which earns its great designation, and wrote the following. The album's lyrics are largely about depression and other types of anxieties. And that kind of touches on that, what we just spoke about with the emo subject matter. And there's no doubt that a lot of thought and care was put into their work here. The production on the album is superb. The obvious highlight is the guitar work, which is a perfect meshing of twinkly Midwest emo and power chugging, in that it fits perfectly into the pop punk atmosphere, but also goes many places that the genre itself normally wouldn't. It shares a very clear resemblance to the bands like Tiny Moving Parts, but has accessible song structures that resemble other more mainstream peers, but also takes more risks than many modern pop punk bands, even those at the top of their game. Over at All Punked Up, Noah Cross wrote, song by song, the five-piece band from Lansing, Michigan never fails to impress you between the intricate instrumentals and deep lyrics. You'll Be Fine is such a great album, you'll catch yourself restarting it over and over like I have. And finally, an interview with Billboard, the band discussed the creation of the video and the song itself. When we were writing the song, we felt it had the type of groove that made you want to put on sunglasses. So we just ran with that, and that without overcomplicating anything or creating a real storyline. Chris Freeman told Billboard in a statement, the random ideas came from both the band and the video's director, Michael Herrick, who suggests the guys fan each other with giant leaves, which ended up being one of their favorite scenes. The quirky video offers a lighthearted metaphor for the song's deeper meaning, about the sort of anger and paranoia you get from always having eyes on you, lead singer Sandville explains. It's both rejection and fear of mob mentalities. So, with that reference to the lyrics, let's get into them directly here. Head on a pike, plain and vacant tonight, as you cry through your phone, let the masses support all the hate that you spit, keep a mouthful of shit, see your smile at a town, and our shirt that you sport, woe is me. Eavesdrop in class, keep your ears to the glass, woe is me. It's good to hate, isn't it? Popping veins, dissonance. Draw and quarter a stranger to feel some blood on your fingers. You take away robbery, follow trends as a hobby, find flaws in everything else because you don't like yourself, woe is me. Prisoner compliance, you'll tend to your bias. Be sure you're identical to all your peers. Keep your head low, suggestive, horror show like clockwork, predictable, simple, then turn of a gear. It's good to hate, isn't it? Popping veins, dissonance, draw and quarter a stranger to feel blood on your fingers. You take away robbery, follow trends as a hobby, find flaws in everything else because you don't like yourself, woe is me. It's getting harder not to lose myself when you clearly wanted someone else. Staying awake because I never felt safe at home. Double check the locks and hide my phone. Try to drink away peripheral ghosts. Turn out the lights. It's my fault. I'm never alone. It's good to hate, isn't it? Popping veins, dissonance, draw and quarter a stranger to feel blood on your fingers. You take away robbery, follow trends as a hobby, find flaws in everything else because you don't like yourself, woe is me. Eavesdrop in class, keep your ear to the glass, woe is me. So yeah, I think a lot of this also touches on the kind of
Social media sort of trend
yes,
shit.
absolutely, absolutely, and just he even says it's his fault that he's not alone, because even when he is physically alone, he keeps the goddamn phone open and reading,
Yeah,
and
you just turn
yeah,
it off.
yeah, and it can fuck you up mentally, especially when you're being talked about more because you have found some monicum of success in music, and now more and more
Yeah.
people talk to you, and more eyes are on you, and it's probably natural introverts. It's hard to grapple with. And even when you're not all that stuff, I still feel like overwhelmed at all the bullshit that I stumble across when I happen to open one of these social media apps that I try not to dig into more than a couple times a week because it's just so goddamn mind numbing and crazy out there. It's the wild west of opinions and unsolicited thoughts and it's everybody's a professional when it comes to their own opinion. So you just become drowned in it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the lyrics really hit with me. I love the lyrics to this song. I love the subject matter, and I feel like, if you'll indulge me just for a minute, that this generation who's going to actively seek out and be fans of this stuff. Don't get me wrong. This song wasn't written for you and I. That doesn't stop me from liking it. But I think that it's an excellent message for an audience that it's probably going to land with, and that it's catered to and kind of pointed at. They need to hear this kind of stuff. That the stuff that they're doing on a regular basis has this detrimental effect or can, and this sort of behavior is frankly toxic. So I think it's good to have a reminder like that to a generation that sorely needs it.
yeah. I was just going to say, I dropped out of social media during the pandemic,
Yeah,
during
great time.
lockdown. I'll never look back.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Didn't miss it one bit. And I was only really sort of monitoring it. I didn't really post at all on Twitter or anything like that. But even then, I was overwhelmed by all the nasty shit that was on there. Um, yeah, I fear that the only thing that's going to stop said generation is the massive electromagnetic pulse that comes from the detonation of several megatons of nuclear warheads. Um, we've seen the sci-fi programs where electricity doesn't exist in the future following nuclear war, and that's the only thing that's going to stop social media. Yeah,
yeah,
no, it is this horrible, pervasive thing, and that's just eaten into people's lives. And I said this many years ago. It started, unfortunately, with programs where people would say things like, "Oh, we're live now on television, and we want to hear your thoughts." And I don't want to hear the thoughts of some fucking ignorant twat down in Essex or Brighton or wherever. Sorry for those two places, who has an opinion which is uninformed. I don't want to
mhm,
hear it.
yeah,
Um, but those who get involved, we want to hear your stuff and read out tweets, read out emails, read out messages, and then from there, people think they've got a basis to spout their shit. And
yeah,
I hear it almost on a daily basis from people who uninformed opinions based on something which is untrue, um, let alone policies or whatever. But
mhm,
that's just the way, step by step, these things are accepted and then built on, and you accept bullshit, you accept lies as a natural part of the everyday system, then you build on it and you get bigger and bigger bullshit and bigger lies. And it's the same with like hurtful crap in social media. If you accept that you can treat someone like this, then you'll treat everyone like this. Then you'll treat that person a little bit worse because you dislike them a bit more. And the hatred builds and yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like
This
you
is a
said,
very good message to send
yeah,
out. Yeah,
it,
definitely.
it's good to hate, isn't it? Is like the opening line of the chorus where it's like it's
That's
becoming the
it.
normative or acceptable. Yeah, interesting stuff. And yeah, that's what drew me to the song the first time I heard it like
You
a couple
just
years
sort out
ago.
his singing. You'd be onto a winner with me.
That's fair. Hey, yeah, honest opinion, like, that style of vocals. I think the thing is being able to express that feeling without being a complete asshole, which you've done, I think, but that seems to be what they're kind of, alluding to, or the overall theme.
Shit, I made you listen to Tom Waits, so who am
Yeah.
I to speak? Um,
You know, different horses for different courses, as you said before. So
definitely.
cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for giving this a listen. I kind of, part of it was the message behind it. Another part of it was kind of filling in this empty spot on the timeline of Midwestern emo music. So go
Can I
ahead.
just ask why Midwestern emo? Are the young single males from that area particularly emotive?
I don't you know what, it's funny, I don't know why they got to be but I guess it was sort of born of there of that area, and that's why they got to go. I gotta say, like, DC had a big emo movement too very early on in the earliest stages of like the development of emo music. But it really took off all around that Midwestern area from Chicago up into, you know, Michigan and over in Ohio and areas like that. So yeah, I don't know what it is, but that's how it turned out. So
It's
I
those
guess just all that.
cold-hearted bastards on the West
Yeah, yeah,
Coast. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Just all landlocked and, in their feelings of no
Of
beaches.
course, you know that you can trace all of this music back to one source, Morrissey.
Oh, Morrissey, yes, you know what? You're probably right. Because Morrissey was probably the first emo boy ever. When
Yeah,
you look
yeah.
at it. But yeah, yeah, that's a very good observation. Guys out there in the listening audience, please let us know what you thought of Hot Mulligan and the song Equip Sunglasses, the message therein. If there's any other stuff by them we should check out, if they reminded you of anything, please, whatever you have to say, just drop it down in the comments field below. But just, at least in the name of the theme of this, the lyrics of the song, just try to be kind when doing it and thoughtful while preserving your humanity. I think you can provide your opinion while preserving your humanity. So thanks so much, guys. Also, please like, share, and subscribe if you'd be so inclined. We really do appreciate it. It helps us over here at the channel. All that out of the way, hopefully John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.